is great to have you on the show this morning. Just in case you are joining us for the first time, this is Inside Nigeria, your favorite newspaper headline review show. My job this morning is to read the major stories from 5 different Nigerian newspapers, and right after that, the second part will be to do justice to the stories. I am your regular host, Tion Joseph. I'll begin this morning with Leadership newspaper. On Leadership this morning, the lead story says 2 months after leadership queries, U.S. Embassy yet to speak on Bagauda Catho's death. You can read that interesting story on page 4. Heading down there, we'll look at the first bullet. It says, refuses to respond to letters, emails by leadership. The next one says, ex-U.S. envoy Roselle Hanks fingered in Dubai hotel bombing, now elusive. And the last bullet says, again, police, DSS, keep mum over call for investigation. On top there, it also helps to know that our lifestyle and fashion magazine, Le Vogue, will be out this Sunday. Do well to grab a copy for yourself. You can also do well by going to our website, www.leadership.ng, to find more interesting stories. On that note, we move straight to the next Nigerian daily. With me in the studio, we have This Day. And on this day, the list story says, Atiku, Shetima's statement denigrates business that employs thousands of workers. The first bullet there says, maintains politics, doesn't confer license to be reckless. The next bullet says, Tinubu's running mate should apologize to Nigerian workers employed by his businesses. The next bullet says, Dele Momodu, ex-VP, remains one of the biggest employers of labor in Nigeria. That is what we have on the front page of This Day. On to the next daily, we have the Daily Sun. And the list story says, Atiku, Tinubu continue personal attacks. First bullet on the Sun says, Nigeria won't elect another ghost president, PDP candidate. And the very last bullet on the Daily Sun says, we retire him to Dubai or Shom Hall. Okay, that is what we have there. And moving on to the next, we have the Punch. And on the Punch, the list story says, Forex crisis, EFCC arrests 87 Forex dealers in Abuja, Lagos. The first bullet says, Forex trader very last bullet on the Punch. We have on the Punch. The list story on the Daily Independent says, PDP that is my name is Tion Joseph.
Oh, hello there. You must have heard that leadership is forgotten country. True. But it is also important to know we are for you right there in your corner when you need us. And this is how you know. Our coverage of youth and children's issues is so unbeatable. We even produce our special edition. When others walk away, we stay with the story. We don't just report the story, we help you find the path. We bring you some of the country's finest writers, Monday to Sunday. We ask the tough questions. We speak your language. Ina kwanan?
Lafiya lau.
Wani labari muke da shi yau?
Ina karanta labarin hirar da ake da Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed.
Da kyau. We bring style to life in Le Vogue magazine. We identify leaders before others recognize them. And the data is speaking for us. So if you're not in leadership, you're behind.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Edition of Inside Nigeria. We're hosting you on the program. To speak, and the writer says letters, emails, bombing now elusive. Again, police DSS keep mum over call for investigation. This is an exclusive leadership story that it's broke on its cover 2 months ago. And leadership still on the story says 2 months after leadership queries US Embassy here to speak on Balgada Kato's death. So why is US Embassy refusing to speak? There's something deafening about silence.
Yeah, because usually these are countries. I mean, this is an embassy of a country that's usually very vociferous, very loud on matters like this. So it might be an indication that they have a certain whatever in their cupboards.
Cockroach in their cupboard.
So it might just point to that fact because ordinarily they should have come up with a statement either denouncing it, either saying no, there's nothing, they have no hand in it.
The silence is
That
voluminous.
silence is loaded. That silence is pregnant. And I think that it's a good one on the side of leadership. And that I think as it is, leadership will have to keep digging until something, until something comes up from there. It's a thumbs up to leadership newspapers.
Now that this US Embassy is refusing to reply to leadership's query, it's what I've always wondered, and I just want to view on it. There have been reports or allegations of this Western world's intervention in some crisis in some countries.
Yeah.
So, is this a pointer to it?
Yeah, I was just going to go there, but I felt that I should not be too forward. Yeah, because there have been reports that their intelligence agencies have hands in a lot of the crisis that happens in less developed nations. Why out what it's just
State,
them.
and that
to do with the U.S. Embassy. Government also should find a way of prodding, of supporting
you also
the investigation.
took the words out of my mouth,
Yeah.
because that's what I was going to say, that Bagada Kautu is a Nigerian.
Yes.
And by all means.
Yeah.
And why is the federal government also keeping mum over the matter? Why is it keeping quiet? Well, where it's the other way around. I bet you that the US government
will never keep quiet.
Never keep quiet.
Again, it's possible that Nigeria is not totally quiet over it. It's possible that they're exploring a diplomatic angle. Maybe they are doing something under the radar, outside of the public.
But you saw
But
that
I
news
think
that DSS, they are quiet.
Yes, they may be quiet to the media, but it doesn't mean that they may not be doing something within the system, which they may not want to come into the open right now, because it could also frustrate their own investigations. So let's leave it. Let's believe that they are doing something, except if the papers, if the journalists go again and find out, and they are sure that they are indeed not doing anything, and indeed. It's not out of place that the media is asking that these agencies speak, because that's the only way by which we can know that they are doing something, that they are up to something. So it's very important. If nothing at all, the Nigerian government ought to put out a statement to say, well, they are also interested, because this is a Nigerian citizen, and for most part, the blame had been put on the government. And so if there's an opportunity to clean that stain, to clean that sludge, to clean that blotch, then I think
Nation that prides itself on
it doesn't really it goes to say that our Nigerian government hardly really take Nigerian lives seriously.
yes.
Now, you'll recall, I think about a year or thereabouts ago, when the American government had to save their citizen in nearby, is it Chad or Niger or somewhere, or Cameroon?
Even Nigeria came here to Nigeria.
Yes, I mean the border between us and
to pick
their person.
Yes,
They spent whatever manpower, they entered there and took their person.
Yes,
It shows you how they appreciate their person.
Yes.
Now, so I am thinking that the pressure ought to be from us. The pressure ought to be from the Nigerian government.
Yes.
And so if the Nigerian government is not doing something to put them in a hot place, then of course you can understand why the American embassy is playing it low key.
Is Nigerian government probably afraid of upsetting the apple cart?
No, I mean, these are matters of international relations, of justice, I mean, for human beings and all that. I don't think that there will be any apple cart upsetting if you say, look, we have a citizen who got killed under shady circumstances, and we're trying to shine some light on it. We need to know exactly, so that we can get closure. And so that also, I mean, we are sure that our hands are not in it. We want to be sure what role your staff played.
Yes.
Now, because the particular person that was mentioned, they mentioned the name,
Yes.
is being elusive. And then if your staff is being elusive and your organization is also being elusive, then it's like adding 2 and 2 to get 4. But you see, because these are matters that affect different. I mean, be put under pressure.
Because there are
It's
silent
beyond leadership
solutions.
is, even if they didn't know before. That's what we face.
From leadership, we move over to the newspapers we have on our menu. Talking of daily independent newspaper, The Sun, The Punch, and THISDAY newspaper. And incidentally, these stories are also developing stories, because yesterday we carried stories of APC candidates and NNPP and their remarks. On this day, Shettima said they were going to retire Atiku, that is the SVP, to Dubai, and that Atiku is not a businessman but a bottled water seller. And this is a developing story on it. This day newspaper says Atiku, Shettima's statement denigrates business that employs thousands of workers.
Yeah.
Atiku, Shettima's statement denigrates business that employs thousands of workers. Maintains politics doesn't confer license to be reckless. Says Tinubu's running mate should apologize to Nigerian workers employed by his businesses. Dele Momodu, SVP, maintains one of the biggest employers of labor in Nigeria. This is This Day. From This Day, let's go over to the next paper, which also talks about politics this Thursday. No, let's see, the Sun, yes, Daily Sun. Daily Sun says, Atiku, Tinubu continue personal attacks. Atiku, Tinubu continue personal attacks. Nigeria won't elect another ghost president, PDP candidate. Will retire him to Dubai. Oshomole still insists, is still standing on the remarks made by the APC vice presidential candidate. Will retire him to Dubai, says Oshomole, former governor of Edo State and former APC national chairman. From Daily Sun, let's go over to Daily Independent. Daily Independent still has story on that. Daily Independent says PDP asks court to sack APC National Working Committee, disqualify Tinubu orders. PDP asks court to sack APC National Working Committee, disqualify Tinubu orders. Now, what do you have to say about that? Now, we are having statement. I think the parties were made to sign peace accord recently, and not make statements that denigrate their opposition candidates. So, what do you have to say about this?
Now, let me start with Shettima. I think that Shettima, the running mate, the APC running mate, vice presidential candidate, I think he's gradually carving out a reputation for himself as someone who is a bit on the loquacious side and quite reckless when he comes out. You'll recall that recently he talked about referring to the vice president, Yemi Osinbajo, as since it's very nice, you should go and be that nice people sell ice cream. I think that he must drop that image as fast as is possible, because it will work against him eventually. There is still the thing he said some years back, talking about I think restructuring, where he said something like, if I remember correctly, that restructuring my food. That's not what. Generally, I mean, you can go right. Exactly, you can go right on and on. There's something again. He said about something about Obi, about Peter Obi in that same.
The presidential candidate of APC said they will labor in vain.
In vain, you can. So that kind of talk, I think that they need to drop, because it will not do them any good. And in any case, to talk about Atiku as a bottled water seller, I mean, it shows either ignorance or mischief, because we do know that this same person has a university that he runs, AUN. We do know that this person, until he divested from Intel, had one of the biggest, what do you call it now, companies involved in shipping and whatever. So you cannot. It's not the kind of person now you can say is a petty trader or a petty businessman. It's beyond that. And so at that point, you want to begin to ask, so what does Shettima bring to the table? Where is his own businesses? And as of today, I will say that one of the qualifications we need for someone who will take over this country is someone who has had some pedigree in business, who has had some, yes, who can turn the fortunes, the economic fortunes around, who can create jobs, who already has experience in creating jobs, creating businesses, who understands the business terrain. I mean, just like this government has been talking about the making business ease of doing business. I mean, they've been making a song and dance of this. I was speaking on some other show some time ago, and I said, look, it's nonsense to talk about ease of business, ease of doing business, when after all the ease, somebody's payment gets stuck. Several contractors' payments are hanging. And that's the greatest part that interests any businessman.
Even the airlines, we had
you can imagine.
Airlines.
I mean, there are several contractors. I mean, the ministry just agreed that they are owing several billions to contractors for roads and all this infrastructure. So when somebody has what is ease of doing this, that you can do your tax clearance quickly, that you can register your company quickly, that's nothing to compare to the fact that somebody invests money and he wants to get it back, and its turnaround time is forever. I mean, you do a business today, and you can be sure there are several businesses, several contractors who are not going to get their monies even till this government goes, and may not get it in another 2-3 years. I mean, how do you want business to run? So it's very crucial, and I think that that's a quality that Shetima. The truth is that they know that that's a strong quality on the side of Atiku, and they are trying to, as much as possible, imperil it, make it as though it's nothing. It's like saying, I mean, what would you say about the fact that Tinubu has a radio station, TV station, and so on and so forth, newspaper houses? Would you call it? Would you say, oh, it's just doing paper, toilet paper? So it's very important that they streamline what goes out from them, because their followers there's a tendency for followers to get how do I say it now, to get ignited by what their leaders say. So they need to be careful what they are putting out there, because in the first instance, there are more germane issues that they should be talking about.
That's exactly what I was
There are more exactly. I mean, even though you can extrapolate, you can move from that and begin to talk about business as we're talking about. But to begin to do personal attacks will not get us anywhere. Because again, what we need to hear is who is going to ensure that there's security in the land. How are you going to go about it? I mean, how many jobs are you going to create? And how are you going to create them? I think that at this time also, we Nigerians must begin to rise to question these things. When such statements are made, there must be a callback. There must be, people must be on their toes and say, look, that's not what we want to hear. We need to hear the details of how you intend to correct the economic
and you know, this time around, like I asked my guest yesterday in the studio, that it should go beyond the rhetoric, because yes, they can have manifesto.
How do you intend to achieve it?
But what should the electorate look beyond? Because electorates have been fed with so many manifestos. This is what we are going to do. Like we see presently. Like before we came to the studio, somebody just sent to me campaign issues of APC before 2015, and the score was quite low compared to what they set out to do when they come into power. So now, how will you? What should the electorates look out for beyond the rhetoric? Oh, we are going to do this. Is it just enough to say, oh, we are going to tackle insecurity? How do you intend to? I think the electorate will be interested in the details.
I think that Nigerians have they need to really wake up and really interrogate issues more than we're doing.
But how do they do that?
We have different fora. I mean, this place is one of them. And then of course insist on debates, different because the situation where we have a lack of confidence, cannot articulate them, 2015, 2014, 2015. I didn't have to think about then multiply 5,000 naira by this is nice.
Use it, bring it to
No,
40.
it's what about millions of jobs? Where? How? Is it on? Is there any before? Team this election thing
Candidates.
that's who is spearheading. I mean, it can be thrown out. Meetings and say, look, in this house, in this family, we see developments around the in problem.
Yes, we
are part of the problem because we will not interrogate issues. We are waiting for cheap money, money that can't take you anywhere. If we don't stop this, these issues will continue, and then the elites will continue to use us to play games. They play games with us, and so I'm appealing this morning. I want to use this opportunity to speak to Nigerians, millions of Nigerians out there who are listening, who are watching this program, to say, look, let's wake up from our slumber. Let's do something about our destiny. Let's take our destiny in our hands for once. Because no politician really in Nigeria, no politician really goes out there because of you. No. They go out there, first of all, because of themselves, because because they know as I have said, who wants to be in love? I mean, someone a car comes to you and this you're not asking any questions, and then that's why a lot of times I say, look, many times I don't feel anything for women when they cry out, and say their hearts has been broken. Because you see, when you set up yourself for a heartbreak, you'll get what you ask for. So that's exactly what Nigerians are doing. There are Nigerians just waiting now and saying, the money they say don't increase.
Yes.
They're still at 10,000 now. They're still at 15,000 now. In fact, they say as CBN carry this rule come out now, better money now go come out. Don't be surprised, because they have no option. They may just increase it, and you might guess it. Sometimes it's not just poverty. For you to know how really comfortable. If you say there's something free somewhere, they are the ones who are looking for a free opportunity. They are the ones who are cornering more and more. So it's inside the system, it's inside their spirit. So until that is tackled, we will continue to have this kind of problems until we can begin to reason, not necessarily based on how much comes immediately, until we can delay gratification. You get 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. It doesn't even pay your school fees.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't even pay your rent. And then you want to mortgage your future for 30,000, another 4 years for 30,000 naira. I think you need your head to be examined.
Yeah, you sure do.
So we need to really wake up and say no to these things. And it's coming with even greater force.
But before you continue, I want to chip in just like what you said. What you said encapsulates everything that we have been talking about. Now you ask yourself, where are the elites? Why are the elites not speaking out? Why are the elites not championing the other generations to say no, you go for this? But they just take a back row. Some of these elites
quoting perfectly from the Bible. Phrased. How do you expect that a demon will be in the forefront? But of NSAS. When these began to want to people knew that, look, do something for this.
They had to go and sponsor.
They who have little or no resistance when it comes to, I mean, look at the people who fear the most when there is crisis. They know what they have at stake. I mean, when they say there's crisis, there's economic crisis, the person on the street doesn't even know, because he's used to eating his 3 akara and bread and moves on. But there are people who, when they say there's serious crisis, they know that the bacon on their table, the cheese, is about to disappear. And then they will do anything. They will cut any corners. They will break any laws. They will break any rules. They will circumvent any regulation to ensure that the thing remains. And that's why we keep getting the poor getting poorer, the rich getting richer. But there's a day, because you see, when the poor get to the point where they have nothing to feed on, which is about the point that we are.
Yes, it is.
They will go back and eat up anything.
Yes.
And anything includes anything, including including elites, including, see, there's a point, even as employers. I remember many years ago. I worked in this Indian establishment, and I saw how they spent money. But when it got to Nigerians, they would appoint one Nigerian who is their stooge, who frustrates Nigerians' aspirations. And then they will they will take care of that man very well, and then every other person is just a slave. So one day I had something to collect. At that time, it was in Lagos. And then when we closed, they will take us all in vehicles from VI, and then we'll go home. Everybody, they had an estate in Ilukweju. I don't know whether you know Lagos. In Ilukweju. And then they will drop every other person off who still has somewhere to go beyond Ilukweju. And so we got into Ilukweju that day, and it was time to get down. And he said, Dayo, out what we talked about in the office. And then before you know it, there was crisis, there was shaking. The guy got down, the guy who used to be very rude, and Harry, if I remember, I think Harry Udwani, he got down, everybody got down, and then they began to scramble around. They began to speak their languages. This. The banchot, that's an insult. That's like the fool or something like that. And then I told them, you are banchot yourself. And then because I was ready to lose the job, I got into the last point. I'm saying, I'm using that to say, and then I was settled. I was settled, and then. Immediately I was settled. And then it didn't even affect my job too. I left at the time I needed to leave because they knew that what they did was wrong, or what one of them did was wrong. And so quietly they knew that this one, you don't tamper with it. So I am saying that until we get to that point, and I'm not inciting, this is not like inciting violence. I'm saying that every Nigerian must come to a knowledge of their rights and pursue such rights. And at least we have a number of rights bodies, even though most of them have been compromised. And I say this, without any apologies, because we know what it was pre-Buhari regime. That every false step, any slightest false step that was taken by the government, you saw people on the streets, who were objective, who were determined to ensure that the right thing was done. But today, what do you find? You find everybody is silent. Because you see, again, when a government, a point that look, he brought a live fowl to a meeting and began to violently pluck the feathers. And then before you know it, blood was all over the fowl. And then all the persons at the meeting were like, they were bewildered. What's happening here? And then the guy said, please, what's happening? And I said, did you see this? Say yes. Say, so this is what you do if you want to have total control of the people. You make them helpless and totally dependent. So whatever you offer them, they'll be glad to receive. I guess that some persons or some people, even before coming into government, understood two things. That once you pocket the rights people, once you're able to also pocket the media, you can do whatsoever you want. And then when you now impoverish the large percentage of the people, then you can have your way. And that's exactly what's happening. These are things that in times past you had people who will plot the streets, who will carry banners, who will carry this. Today, what do you have? One set of people are carrying placards to say, we no go green. The other, before you know it, another group, they quickly call up their own groups and say, look, this is happening now. Call this other guy, we'll bankroll it, we'll send something to you. And then before you know it, so it frustrates whatever. They have understood it. If you see everything that PDP was accused of, this administration does even more worse. So we need, as a people, whether we are rights groups, whether we are in the media, there are people, and can you in many media organizations, people don't get paid. So if you now have someone who calls you aside and says, Omo, come here, we will put you on the payroll every month. How do you even cope? They show some kind of concern. Yes, how do you even cope? You have to train your children. You have to fuel your car. I even notice sometimes you don't even drive your car. That means your car must be in bad shape. We could replace your car. Don't you want a new car? Tell me 10 people. Just show me 10 out of
refuse
who
such
would
an
refuse,
offer?
who would refuse a car? And then they tell you, in order to ensure that your car is fueled and those basic necessities are met, we'll put you on a payroll. You can always go to so and so place. They'll put your name in that agency as if they are one of their staff. So these are the things that also account for ghost workers that you talk about.
Yes.
And so they put,
Oh, yes,
they put a name
yes.
somewhere,
Well,
and you go there every month to collect money, 150,000, 200,000 from zero, from a place where 3 months, 4 months, where you send in your reports and do everything, nobody cares about you.
yes.
So, do you blame that? So we all need, as employers of labor in the media, we need to stand up to salvage our nation. Look at how journalists are treated. And yet you talk about the fourth estate of the realm. I mean, journalists, I've seen situations. There's a particular ministry that's even in the news right now in the last 2-3 days. You go for a function and they have to conclude their meetings before they invite journalists to come in, and so that they give them a briefing of what they did. And then you find that the journalists have to loiter around. They have to hang around. There are no seats, no provision of seats for them, and then no provision of anything with which to make them at least dignify them. And then the one that hurts is that even journalists themselves don't see anything wrong with it.
Yes.
It's so painful. So you find a situation where
They even make excuses
for them, make excuses on their behalf. It's so sad. I mean, if you say these people are the guardians of society, if they're the watchdog of society, if they are of the fourth realm of the fourth estate of the realm, and then you treat them this way, and they themselves agree to be treated that way, how do you proceed? I mean, so these are the issues. These are the issues. Journalists, media people have a role to play. They first of all need to deliver themselves. You do a job. You do a job as a media person. You do a job, and even these highly placed persons believe that you should do it for free. They believe you should do it for free. They believe, okay, yeah, let me find transport for you. What do you mean by that? Because again, if you refuse it, the next person is going to collect it. He's going to even cheapen himself and say, but yeah, even if it's 10,000 you have, just let's have it. So when they see such desperation, when they see such lack of self-dignity, when they see the fact that people they really don't even value what they do. Journalists, a lot of media people don't value what they do. They don't think that they are adding value and should be respected and properly compensated. And it's worsened with the kind of employment situations that they find themselves in. Because if your employer has already treated you as trash, there's nobody out there who's going to now begin to dignify you. So these are issues, Winnie, that I think maybe it's a little bit of exactly what we're talking about, but they are very they are very relevant and relative.
Selection is just
here.
Just like what you said, they can be bought too.
That's what I'm saying. It hurts. It hurts a lot because there's a whole lot of truth that is being suppressed. People have information that could upset. Exactly. And then because they know that they're going to get some 50,000. Then, well, see, let's just forget it. It's not my exactly. I need to survive first. And then when someone has been, before he left home, Madam has said, rice don't finish. Say that generator, that man will repair them, you will never pay. The school fees remains. So you think of survival. And so the elites take advantage of all this. Like Stalin says, they take advantage of all these things and dish to us as they please. It's so painful.
So painful and unfortunate. Now, before we go, time is running out on us. Let's go to the next paper we have on our menu, and that is The Punch. It's also a leading story, but yesterday they nabbed the EFCC and DSS. They raided these Bureau de Change operators. Let's see how The Punch couched it. Forest crisis. EFCC arrests 87 forest dealers in Abuja, Lagos. Forest crisis. EFCC arrests 87 forest dealers in Abuja, Lagos. Forest traders angry as agency conducts more raids, seizes phones. Bauer meets senior bank officials, dealers associations. Licensed dealers back rates, share pros and cons. Same developing story.
For me,
like the other papers.
For me, I think that the issue of raid Well, maybe like maybe they are trying to have some multi-pronged uh, program of dealing with the issues. But
They're ready there for what purpose?
that's what that's what I'm about to say. But I would have thought that this policy of redesigning the notes would go a long, long, long way in dealing with the problem that we have on hand.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. If it is, I mean, again, you can see that already we have a crisis, a mini crisis on our hands,
But
because you
it's
can see
already also
you
this
can see
redesign
that
is already having given naira more for. See, as we speak,
yes,
dollar
because
is 900 naira to.
yes, because Nigerians are, we are very difficult
Yes,
to
very
to
difficult.
tame.
Very,
We
very
are
difficult.
very
I
creative
agree.
in circumventing whatever.
Yes.
But if the thing were to go as planned, I can assure you that a whole lot of stolen money would have been lost.
But
And
what
then-
stolen money are we talking about? From previous government or this administration?
No, from whatever administration. I mean, there are people who have vaults where they just keep loads of naira, and it's just there. And so it's those things are available for all kinds of nefarious activities. It then means that somebody can just enter his room and bring out hundreds of millions and say, "Oh yeah, let's get this done." And usually, most countries ensure followed monitor. That's the reason branches, because
The CBN government.
I think he said and about 2. Trace those things. Because that's the reason. Imagine that. It shows.
Who told me that? It's really million ransom in dollars. They were
It shows you that only some reckless way. That seven thing when you hear such things come, it tells you the government should not allow. He gives it, and that's to do not think people have said less you'd have some trouble on from whatever part that they are. These are some of the things to fire the a lot of people still say, look, whether we
They can't grab
the vehicle yesterday over Tampo. Immediately because he also helped our person to come in. So you can, I mean, I don't want to go into details, but it shows you how we are wired. And until that wiring is rejigged, we're going to continue to have this kind of problems. Time
so unfortunately.
so,
Yes, time is up. Time is against us now. Thank you so much. I want to thank you once again, Dayo Mogun, for having time.
Thank you,
to be with us
Winifred.
in the studio. I look forward to seeing you.
Oh, hello there. You must have heard that leadership is for God and country. True. But it is also important to know we are for you right there in your corner when you need us. And this is how you know. Our coverage of youth and children's issues is so unbeatable. They even produce our special edition. When others walk away, we stay with the story. We don't just report the story, we help you find the path. We bring you some of the country's finest writers, Monday to Sunday. We ask the tough questions. We speak your language. Ina kwanan?
Lafiya lau.
Wani labari muke da shi yau?
Na karanta labarin hirar da aka yi da Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed.
Da kyau. We bring style to life in Le Vogue magazine. We identify leaders before others recognize them. And the data is speaking for us. So if you're not in leadership, you're behind.